Hi, this is Don Crowther with a video about strategic plans, and I want to start by asking you a really key question. Do you want to have a bigger, better, more profitable company a year from today? If you do, let me show you a few facts. The facts state that small businesses that strategically plan tend to have a higher sales growth, return on assets, profit margins, and employee growth. And there's the source down there in the bottom corner. The facts say that small businesses that strategically plan tend to be innovative and achieve international growth. The facts say that small businesses that strategically plan are less likely to fail. Do any of those things sound interesting to you? All these can be summarized by a key statement. It says, of all the contrasts between the successful and unsuccessful businesses, or between the leader and the follower, the single most important differentiating factor is strategy. But here's the challenges. Most companies don't strategically plan. And the reason is that there is a serious problem with strategic plans. And that is, most of the time, people don't know how to do it. And so when they go and they look for templates and formats and those kinds of things to do it, what they find is they're incredibly complex. They're very time consuming, and in many cases they're not action oriented. And they look at it and they say, there's no way that I'm spending 3 months putting together a strategic plan. May I solve that for you? I want to point out something about strategic planning. Strategic planning is a very simple process. It's a process of, number one, identifying where you are. Number two, identifying where you want to be. And number three, creating some specific action plans to fill that gap. And so therefore, what I've done is I've put together a very simple 2-page template that you can use to strategically plan. Going through this process will take an average person who understands what they're doing 2 to 3 hours. And it's worth spending that amount of time, because this is planning what your future business is going to be like. I'm going to give you a download link at the end of this. This is totally free, so that you can be able to go and download this 2-page template. Plus, in addition to that, I am going to give you a sample of one filled out, so you'll be able to get some ideas, see what should go into those various squares, so you'll be able to understand it better. Basically, this plan has 2 pages. That's why it's called a 2-page strategic plan. Here's your first page. Here's your second page. Let me go through each line in depth in these. And by the way, download this and watch this again. You'll be able to see how it all gets filled in and read the samples. The samples I'm putting here on the screen are the samples that are there. All right, so first you start off with the heading. Hey, this is easy. You put in your organization name, you put in what period you're doing it for, the date, version, and I encourage you to put in that version, because oftentimes these things will change 2 or 3 times right at the beginning. This next section is where we look at, over here on the left, we look at your current situation. That's these columns right here. Then we look at the desired situation, so that we can then identify what's the gap between them and develop a specific plan to fill that gap. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with the current situation. Here you're going to write a few phrases that will describe where you are right now. So, sample. Sales is insufficient to quit my day job and go full-time. I've got weak traffic and a lack of name recognition in the marketplace. I need to capitalize on this while Dancing with the Stars is still hot. Because, by the way, this is for a site that creates exercise videos based upon ballroom dance moves, okay? People love our current Dancing for Fitness product, but they tell us they want more new content in that series. So, not a lot of facts here. This is, here's how I feel. Here's my current situation. Here's how I feel about it. Okay? Then, below that is the key indicator section. Here's where you put some of the facts that are out there. And so here's some samples. Last year our sales were 24,000, a profit of 12,000 after expenses. Our traffic, we averaged 1,500 unique visitors per month. I'm not going to go down and read every one of these, because these are on the sample that is there. But it's these kinds of things. You're putting where you are, what's happening so far. So if you haven't even started your business yet, your key indicators may be empty, or it may be planning this or thinking about this or whatever, those kinds of things. But you're putting down the facts about where you are. Over on the right-hand side, we get the desired situation. So your desired situation might be something like this. Earn $60,000, $5,000 a month after expenses so that I can quit my current job and focus on this full time. By the end of the year, I want to have a membership site where people are paying monthly for additional content and feedback and at least 4 new products in the lineup. And so we're making some statements about where we want to be, and then down below that is where we put our specific objectives that have numbers in it so that you can actually track those objectives to see how you're doing. So sales $150,000, profits at least $60,000. Build an email list to 25,000 with a 30-part autoresponder series. Introduce at least 4 products. So you can see each one of these things has a number so that you can be able to go back and numerically track how am I doing against these goals. Just saying build a bigger business or increase my conversion rate, those aren't sufficient. You want to have numbers here so that you actually are able to prove whether you have achieved it or not. Now you've filled in this left side and the right side, and now for the rest of this time we focus on the gap, that piece in the middle, the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be. So the first thing we do is we look at some specific actions that we are planning to do to fill that gap. We have a place where we put the action, and we have another place where we put a due date so that you know what you're doing and you can actually put that on your calendar and say, I'm going to achieve this by such and such a date. Here's some examples. So you do 4 new products, 1 each in April, June, August, and September. So in this case, I put varies for the due date because you've got 4 different products. We're going to create 50 videos and post them on video sites, 20 each in January and February and 10 in March. And so I put my due date as this, but you can also see I've got my due dates over here. Create my email autoresponder incorporating the videos produced. I'm going to do that in January, March. So you can see I'm doing very specific things. Run split tests on web pages to increase conversion. Develop a free course, offer as an opt-in incentive and to affiliates. So I've got specific things that will help me to achieve those objectives of making that amount of money or whatever it was that you put down for objectives. And by the way, you can do more than this. In fact, I encourage you to do that. I'm trying to put these things onto 2 pages, but you can always have an appendix with a bunch of other specific actions and even assign them to specific people and what date they'll be done by and all those kinds of things. This is a simplified version so you can put it all in one place very quickly and easy. Then on the bottom of the page, additional goals. Here's where you put in some things that may not fit into the specific actions that help you to get there. So reduce paper usage by 50% to decrease my impact on the environment. Design a business that will take 6 weeks of vacation per year and work no more than 40 hours a week. Bring my children into the business to teach them business skills. So those things that might be outside of here's how I'm going to achieve the filling of that gap, but these things are, hey, these are some things that I really want to make sure happens in this process of working on these things this year. Now, page 2, we get into some further action plans, but here's where we look at the customer type. There's basically 3 kinds of customers. And I've actually put these in an order for this reason. The first one is your current customers. So the most costly thing you can do is to go pay money to acquire a new customer. And so anytime you've got a customer, and you should have a plan to be able to make more money from that existing customer. That's why we have this first column, make more from existing customers. Then we've got a second column, which is where people mostly focus, and that is generating new customers. But we have a third group, which is lapsed customers, someone who bought from you a year ago or 2 years ago, has never come back and bought again. You need to have a plan to be able to go get those people and earn more money from each one of those. And so you should be developing some specific action plans for each one of these groups and focus on how you're going to make money from each one of those, and you can read that in the sample document. Then the final piece that we're doing in this is your key strategic initiatives placed on a calendar. So this way you can look at your year across the year and see, here's the key things that I need to have finished in each one of these particular months across the year. And so here I put January is our heavy social media push with Facebook, Twitter, and video, and offer a free course via autoresponder. In February, we're going to focus on our video releases. In March, we're going to focus on video releases, applying an affiliate recruiting focus, and are creating a cross-sell and an upsell funnel. And so you go through these. I want to point out July's was a very important person for this particular person. Quit job in July. So that means that by that time they need to have put a process in place in these first 7 months that will enable them to be able to quit the job and go forward with their objectives in these areas. Now you'll see that what I tend to do when I do these things is I push them into the first part of the year. Why? Because one of the things I believe is that coming back in June or so to relook at this document, pull it out again and say, okay, what's our plan for between now and the end of the year to continue to achieve these objectives? And so the back half of the year tends to get more filled up at this time. Most people I've discovered can't really plan beyond 3 to 6 months effectively in terms of what they're going to do. And so as I said, I push most of the things into the first half of the year and then reevaluate partway through the year to push it into other areas. So you should be aware that you may want to add some more pages to this process. So you can have a page where you look at strengths and weaknesses, which can be a very valuable thing, so that you understand, hey, I'm not a detail person. So then you may need to hire a detail person to work on your projects for you. You may want to have further details on how you're going to fill the gaps, some more strategies, some more tactics. You may want to have a financial analysis. Here's where we are right now. Here's our estimated expenditures and income throughout the year. Here's a balance sheet in 2 different levels. This is especially important if you're going to show this to a banker to get a loan. You'll need to do a financial analysis as part of that. And then you may want to have some in there where you're looking at equipment and staffing and investment requirements, so you can plan your cash flow throughout the year. Those are all good things to add. The core of that, though, is the strategy, these things that happen on these first 2 pages that I provided to you. Now, the major keys to success with this are, first off, do it. You need to spend a few hours and develop a strategic plan. And write it down as you do it. Use this format. Review it weekly so that you follow it. I suggest that once a week you have a meeting with yourself, your key managers, your staff, whatever it is. Pull out this document, look at it and say, okay, how are we doing on this? What do we need to do? How do we need to alter this plan? Realize these plans are living, breathing documents that you're trying to expand your efforts and expand the plan to better achieve those end objectives. And then revise it as needed. I recommend 2 to 3 times per year you do a revision session to get these. As you do these things, your business is going to be better planned. You will get all those objectives that we talked about at the beginning, where I showed you the facts from these scholarly studies about people who do strategic plans. All those advantages are going to start flowing your way. And so the next step that I suggest you do is to go right now to doncrowther.com/a/stratplan, where you'll be able to download the document in a Word format, as well as in a sample of a sample company, so you can look at it and see some of the ideas and how to fill these things out. I strongly recommend that you do this soon. This is Don Crowther. Just go do this stuff. Hi, this is Don again with a special offer just for you. If you would like to get more free social media and internet marketing tips just like this, visit www.doncrowther.com and sign up for the free newsletter there. It's doncrowther.com. Just go do this stuff.